Is UN really working unbiasedly?
UN is not biased, it works for everyone.
Same as the Mohit Dey stated one thing that in World War II, UN helped a lot, but I think that UN formed after World War II only. There is a clearly biased in the UN without any questions.
Australia, Japan, New Zealand, Botalia, is it an underdeveloped country? Then why they are not the part of the veto power?
That it's not made for the decision, it's made for the discussion.
The Palestine one, right there we face that Palestine and Israel, they are fighting for a longer period of time. What you are wondering, that this fight is just for 2 years, 3 years? No, it's more than 70 to 75 years.
A very good evening to one and all present right there. My name is Divya, and welcome to Bud English Academy, where we have got students from the batch Ringleaders and Titans, and we are having a debate today. So, before moving ahead, I would like to tell a few things right there. If we move back somewhere a century ago, so we all know that the UN, United Nations, were formed for the international peace and security after World War II, where it was believed that the way in world wars the people have died, families were broken, it should not be done. But now the biggest question that is raised up is UN really working unbiasedly? But the voice of all the countries is really being raised with the same pace, or the countries with veto power are really ruling the other ones? Let's know in this debate. So the topic of our debate is all about UN. Is UN biased? So we have got two teams. On the first team, we have got all the women of our class. So let's welcome them. And on the other side, against them, we have got all the males, all the men of our class. The female side believes that yes, UN is biased. On the other hand, the male side believes that no, they are not biased, and whatever the primary objective was to form UN is successfully achieved in the present as well. So let's deep dive into it if it is really happening or not. So let's witness this debate today.
Hello guys, here our team is, and we are saying that League of Nations is biased. Wait a second. You are hearing it right, that League of Nations. Because the UN or UNO is also like, it used to be a League of Nation, which has failed in its aim or motive, whatever you can say, because its aim was again the peace, just maintain the peace in all over the world during after the World War One. But then it got failed, and after the World War Two, they all just thought of that we have to change the name and a lot of things to the League of Nations so it can be become more better, and that's how they come up with the United Nation organization. Later on, they changes a lot of things, their aim and their purpose as well. The first one, it's quite simple, just to maintain the peace and the decorum in all over the country. But the second thing is just that country, their main focus should be on the education, science, scientific, and culture, social, and economy. These five terms. And if any of the countries is just going with any conflict and facing such kind of problem in this, then for sure UNO will help them to solve it. But now let's just talk about the structure of the UNA. Actually, there are the 6 structures, but the mainly our topic is just revolve around the 2 structures only: the General Assembly and the Security Council. Thank you. The General Assembly and the Security Council. So here the major part or very important part of the UNO is General Assembly, where it just happen in once in a year. But there they took just a very important discussion where 193 countries came on the stage and they discuss about the global problems. But the Security Council, they just talked about the conflicts which is between any of the countries, or they're facing some wars, some cold wars, and many more things like that. So here we are saying, and we believe this, that UN is biased, it's completely biased, and my team member will support and they will share a lot of examples.
In a world divided by war, hatred, and inequality, there is only one global organization which works for the UI, that is UN. First of all, let's understand what is UN and how it works. Basically, in UN, 193 countries involved with the UN, which is known as the United Nations. And basically, UN work for the humanity, for the people. And firstly, I would like to say that UN is not biased. It works for everyone. It doesn't matter that any country have a nuclear weapon or anything else. It works for everyone. And the first thing, we know the example of World War II. World War II, we destroyed a lot of things, but we didn't destroy the humanity just because of UN. In World War, in Cold War, there are ample of things happened, but just because Cold War stopped because of UN. So we cannot say that UN is biased, and we strongly believe that UN of course.
You all know that UN is a global organization which controls, or you can say, which has a huge power to save security and peace all over the world. It has given the veto power to developed countries. It can't be given to undeveloped countries or developing countries. They can't even handle their country. So how we can give them a veto power to give a decision to all over the world? Because veto power doesn't mean to say the no to something. It means that you can deny all 190 decisions. There are 193 members in United Nations. So you can deny 190 all 190 plus countries. Your decision would be first. A developed country would not take that decision uh, to use the nuclear power or any other thing. If it would be, so it has been many years from World War II, so my third World War could take place, but it didn't take place. After that, many wars are taking place: Israel, Palestine, Russia, Ukraine, but it didn't took to a world war, or you can say something else. After that, also the growth rate of many countries has been increasing. In South Africa, also a great growth rate was seen after formation of that, and many reports shown by the UN, those are also not the biased one. Every countries are given the reports according to their level and according to their development group.
Okay. So I think that UN must have also helped in World War First. Is it making sense? Same as the Mohit Bhai stated one thing that in World War Two, UN helped a lot, but I think that UN formed after World War Two only. One more thing that in World War II there was not humanity. More than 2 million people were died, and like lots of people have lost their lives, lost their home and basic necessities. Basically, I believe that in UN every country is equal except some of the 5 countries because they are more equal than them. UN has lot more accused of being complicit into the corruption also. They are more proactive than reactive. They are more reactive than proactive. How? Because once the Iran seized oil tank in where 24 Indians were also involved, then UN didn't react. There were a lot more wars that, as you stated, that World War II, same as after that, there are some wars like in like there was a Rwanda genocide in 1944. Even it was not stopped, even it was not reacted by the UN. Same as the Russia-Ukraine war. And also, like some of you would say that, okay, somehow these war, the Sidon and all, that is based upon the mistakes and all. But I think that UN is not mistaken by the accident or any mistake, but it is biased because of its design only. Here also, if we see the current situation in Venezuela, like our team member has said that there are 5 countries who is involved in the P5, and in Venezuela US attack. But what right now US is doing the same what was doing in World War II. And again, I just want to ask question to you that if it is about US in Venezuela, how many sanctions by UN to US were made ever, like except war? How many sanctions were there? No answer, because it was 0. Because they are the part of P5, so UN never sanctioned ever in against of US. And if you don't believe on my statement, then there was there is former General Secretary named Salil Shetty who said that these 5 countries are they have got more privilege than others, and yes, there is a clearly biased in the UN without any questions.
So here I think that yes, it is more biased, and I guess 190 countries are there, but out of 5 are more privileged in UN.
Well, well explained by you guys, but I would like to correct you, like many ways. The very first thing that the history behind the UN, right? UN was established after World War Second, I know, but before that, the successor, you League of Nations, and UN is the successor of League of Nations, which was established before United Nations to prevent World War situations. But still, it happened. That's why after World Wars, not to save the world from World War Third like situations, we established UN. At the same time, you guys are calling it biased, it is somewhere uninformative, because how you can target, or you can say any organization a biased organization just because that five permanent there are only 5 countries who are permanent. I don't really think so. UN is not biased. At the same, we can say UN is not biased. Like the 5 countries who take the decisions, they can call me as biased, but UN is a organization which brings every country in the world together to have a platform in which they can discuss the social issues of their countries, as they don't know, please. It's that you are discussing social issues like poverty, your lower economy, as education, finance, each and everything, right? At the same time, like in UN, we do not know, actually do not have data. That's why you are saying that UN is biased. Like UN has a lot of achievements. UN had had different more than 193 countries in terms of finance. At the time of when Taliban is attacked or invasion in Afghanistan, UN held and that particular time in finance. At the same time in Iraq, when there was when there was economic crisis were going on, that time in infrastructure and development, UN kept contribution to their finance. So these are some of the datas which says that UN is a organization, or a particular platform where if it is not there, then then our world can move towards a very worse condition. Like one of the member of UN say that UN was not established on that particular time to take the world to heaven, but to save it from hell. Because on that time the situation was like that, that we need that on that particular time a platform where each country can come together and maintain that peace in the globe.
Whenever any war conflict takes place, the one and only question arises that is UN biased? How UN can be biased? First of all, let's understand why UN was formed. Yes, UN was formed to have a stand over the body, to promote human rights, and it has been promoting the human right whenever any war takes place. So it provides the human right. It provides the stand where undeveloped country can also have a stand, so that they don't feel suppressed, or they don't feel that they are really undeveloped. The second thing, it takes decision on the practical basis, not by the emotion that this country is my brother, I will take decision in that favor. It takes decision by the mutual understanding, whatever the decision can be would be the best decision, as like in a democracy. It takes time, but it takes the best decisions. The third thing, at the time of Gaza, it was concerned that we should have a humanitarian aid for the people who were died. But 193 countries were denied at particular time. Why so? It did not favor 193 countries. It favored the what matters most. It favored at that point that if they did wrong, so why we need to provide them a kind of a favor? Why we need to have a console over them? Now, at that moment, this particular thing shows that it is not biased. It is promoting the human right. It is helping the undeveloped countries too. And third thing, it takes practical decision on the mutual understanding, not by the emotions, not by the people who are in the favor of them, or no, they do not take any kind of particular decision that can be going into the wrong way.
Wrong way is absolutely wrong of your sentence. First of all, as you mentioned about that United Nations are peaceful organization for the world extent. Firstly, I would like to open the eyes of yours that it is united organization, not united government. So whatever it is commanding, or whatever the rules was, it was established by the UN is not binding for the world. Okay, because that is just the request or suggestion, but can't be the rule by the United Nations, which is followed by the thing. As Aditya mentioned about that veto power should not be there for the 5 countries, or underdeveloped countries should be not there. Now my question is that Australia, Japan, New Zealand, Botalia, is it an underdeveloped country? Then why they are not the part of the veto power? So
Military force.
Hmm?
They're military forcing and technology का group.
what is veto power?
Everything different has your time.
So this kind of knowledge is you need to read it a lot. And so firstly you are saying that it is equal for that, because the agenda of the United Nations is to multilateralism and cosmopolitanism for the world, where we can actually make a world to one extent united, right? And simultaneously you are not giving the basic rights to the people, and you are discriminating people on the basis of the powers. Then how you are saying that this is the United Nations for the world? Apart from this, as Mohit mentioned about that the graceful United Nation has stopped the Cold War for the World War III. First of all, it was before the United Nations League of Nations, which was after the World War One, and after World War Two, it shifted to the United Nations. After the World War III, definitely it would upgrade the name, but not by the actions, because if they have done it by the action, that was clearly visible right now, right? As he talked about the Cold War never ended by the United Nations. It was ended because of the disintegrations of the USSR. So there is no role of United Nations there. Apart from this, all the things, what are the promises claimed by the United Nations? Is it fulfilled? Then they are talking about the reduction of the poverty, how much poverty they has reduced, and the corruption charges they have mentioned about has never sacrificed about the points. Apart from the gender equality, how much woman representation was there for the behalf of the United Nations? And you are saying that United Nations is working for the peace of the security, then where it was for the crisis of the Israel and Palestine, and the Ukraine and Gaza, and right now the Venezuela. So whenever it about the actions, United is silent, and whenever it is about the diplomatic relations and politics, they are arising. And apart from this, you are that much unaware people that why these whole things are happening. Firstly, you need to understand that why war is happening. War is happening so that they can sold the weapons. So first they are selling the weapons on the name of the war, and after the ending of the war, they are making the organization that yes, we are the peacemakers for the world. What kind of hypocrisy it is?
I would say the point or the valuable point, the only valuable point in your speech was this war one. Okay, that they want to sell the weapons. But I think that that is the work of the countries. America do this. America does this, and then any other big countries does this. That is not done by UN. So why we are bringing that particular point in the debate, I don't know. First, I would like to start the base of my points with a clearing two misconceptions. First misconception is this, that everyone is saying that they didn't stop, they didn't did anything at that particular time, they didn't deal this, or they didn't help in this manner. Okay, first of all, UN, as clearly said by Vivek, that it's not made for the decision, it's made for the discussion. Supporting UN doesn't mean that we are supporting US actions as well. Okay, so US actions are wrong, but at the same time, we have to see the condition of Venezuela, because at the end of the day, UN is working for the humanity. Or if it's working for the humanity, so the people in Venezuela, they are not protesting against of the whatever happened in the country. They are even celebrating the kidnap of their own president. Okay, so if there is a mass killing, anything going on, then it raises a very big question that why UN is not doing anything. Okay, also the decision I said that the actions was made by UN, it is not made because UN want to made it. Okay, they give up a particular space or the place for Israel and Palestine to discuss over something so they can free some of the innocent people. Okay, so UN didn't get that free. They just give a place so they can discuss. After discussion, they lead to that particular discussion. So that is their own solution and their own outputs. Okay, and this quotation which you gave, that discussion is always, conversation is always complete when there is an outcome. This can be a quote to written on the like wall, but it cannot be a reality. Okay, because having discussion, right to speech is also something. Now I want to make my another point, two main points. First, in UN,
small countries get chance. For example, India is a developing country. At the time of Russia-Ukraine war, India was appointed as the head counselor of head counselor of Security Council of UN. Why it was the head? Because the opportunity was given. Second thing, do you know how rule of in pollution? Okay, in pollution related to countries, there is a rule that countries who are developing or underdeveloped, they can do more pollution than the countries who are already developed. Okay, this is a basic rule if you have read the book. Okay,
The Palestine one, right there we face that Palestine and Israel, they are fighting for a longer period of time. What you are wondering, that this fight is just for a 2 years, 3 years? No, it's more than 70 to 75 years. They are just fighting for the same thing. And UNA, in the beginning only, UNA said that, okay, it's just between the Jews and the Arabs. And at that point of time only, they said that, okay, just give that Palestine, the major part of it, to the Jewish people. But as Israel and many of the people, they just use their veto power and they stopped it. And for 70 to 75 years, they're just fighting for the same thing. And UNA is just holding their hand and don't want to do anything in this thing. And the one thing you are just saying this thing again and again, that it's a discussion where UNA have no point, no hand. They cannot do anything in it. So mainly the two structure which I talked about, that the Assembly one, the General Assembly one, and the Security Council one. The discussion, it took place in the General Assembly, and the veto power game played in the Security Council. And if anything were just discussing in the Security Council, and if one of the 5 countries took the stand that they are using their veto power, then what will happen? That their veto power get considered, and whatever the positive or the negative side they doesn't consider, they just consider the veto power one only.
Actually, we are exceeding the time of this debate. What we can do is that we can continue it tomorrow. I know there are a lot of points which are unanswered, so many questions unanswered, so many points which are still, stuck within yourself, right? And your share believes this thing that whatever you're saying is somewhere at the top of the discussion. But don't worry, we'll continue it further tomorrow. So come with the answers which you could not really answer today, and some more questions which can be taken forward in this debate. So ready, everyone?
Yeah.